morning. Can I tell you something I've been thinking about? After 34 years of marriage and more than 40 years with the same man, I've learned that some of the most important conversations in a marriage are often the ones that never happen. Not because someone is hiding something, not because someone is being dishonest, but because sometimes we don't even know how to explain what we're feeling. Sometimes we know something doesn't feel quite right, but we can't find the words. We know something has shifted, but we don't know when it shifted. We know something feels different, but we can't point to one conversation, one argument, or one event that caused it. And because we don't have the words, we stay quiet, or we talk about everything except the thing that's really on our hearts. I want to talk to both wives and husbands today, because after all these years, one thing I've learned is this. Most marriages don't fall apart because two people stop loving each other. Many marriages struggle because two people slowly stop understanding each other. That's a very different problem. And understanding is something we have to be intentional about. One of the most dangerous thoughts a wife can carry isn't usually one she says out loud. It's much quieter than that. It sounds like this: what if I don't matter to him anymore? Now, before some husbands immediately think, my wife has never said that to me, stay with me for a minute. She probably hasn't, because that thought rarely comes out exactly like that. Instead, it sounds like, why are you always on your phone? You never asked me how my day was. You don't notice anything I do anymore. You don't spend time with me. You seem interested in everything except us. Those are the words. But underneath those words, there is often another conversation taking place. A conversation that never gets spoken. And underneath that conversation is one simple question. Do I still matter to you? Not financially, not practically, not as the mother of your children, not because I cook your meals, not because I take care of the house. Do I matter because I'm me? Do you still see me? Do you still enjoy being with me? Do you still choose me? I don't think many wives wake up one morning suddenly feeling disconnected. I think it happens much more quietly than that. And that's what makes it so difficult to recognize, because there's usually no dramatic moment, no major fight, no announcement, just small moments that quietly begin to change how the relationship feels. Life has a way of filling every empty space. Children need attention. Jobs become demanding. Parents begin aging. Grandchildren come along. Health changes. Bills need to be paid. Appointments fill the calendar. Responsibilities multiply. Before you know it, your conversations become about logistics. Who's picking up groceries? What's for dinner? Did you pay that bill? What time is your doctor's appointment? Who's taking the car? Life slowly becomes about managing responsibilities. And here's the hard part. None of those things are wrong. They're part of building a life together. But somewhere along the way, many couples unintentionally stop nurturing the relationship while they're busy maintaining the life they've built. They stop asking questions that have nothing to do with schedules. They stop sitting together without a purpose. They stop looking into each other's eyes long enough to notice something has changed. And distance has a way of moving into that space. Not loudly, not dramatically, quietly. Distance doesn't usually knock on the front door. It slips in through routine. It slips in through busyness. It slips in through exhaustion. Until two good people who genuinely love one another wake up one day feeling strangely disconnected. Not because love disappeared, but because life became louder than the relationship. Now I want to gently speak to the husbands. If your wife asks, "Do you still love me?" please don't hear criticism. Try to hear the fear underneath her words. She's probably not questioning whether you go to work. She's probably not questioning whether you pay the bills. She's probably not questioning your faithfulness. She's asking something much more personal. Do I still have your heart? Do you still notice me? Do you still enjoy spending time with me? Because every wife wants to know she's still being chosen, not just needed, chosen. Now, wives, I want to lovingly speak to you too. Sometimes our husbands don't realize we've arrived at this place, not because they don't care, but because many men naturally express love differently than many women experience it. Many husbands say, "I love you," by working hard, by providing, by protecting, by fixing problems, by carrying responsibility. Meanwhile, many wives hear, I love you," through conversation, attention, affection, being noticed, feeling emotionally connected. Neither person is wrong. They're simply speaking different emotional languages. And that's why understanding becomes so important. Not proving who's right, not choosing sides, understanding. One of the greatest gifts Jake and I have learned over these 34 years is that assumptions quietly damage marriages. When we stop asking questions, our minds start writing stories. He doesn't care anymore. She's impossible to please. He never notices me. She only sees what I do wrong. And the longer those stories stay inside our heads, the more believable they become. Until eventually, we're responding to assumptions instead of responding to each other. That's why curiosity is so powerful. Instead of assuming, ask. Help me understand what you're feeling. When did you start feeling this way? What have I been missing? What does love feel like to you right now? Those kinds of questions don't create defensiveness. They create connection. Because every person wants to feel understood, not fixed, not corrected, understood. One thing I've learned is that every marriage needs moments where two people stop managing life and start noticing each other again. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your spouse isn't advice. It isn't solving the problem. It isn't having the perfect answer. Sometimes it's simply your full attention. Looking them in the eyes. Putting your phone down. Turning off the television. Sitting quietly. Listening without interrupting. listening without preparing your response, listening simply to understand, and maybe asking one question: how's your heart? Not, what did you get done today? Not, what bills need to be paid? Not, what's on tomorrow's schedule? But, how's your heart? You may be surprised by what you've been missing, because underneath the schedules, the responsibilities, the routines, the errands, the doctor's appointments, the grocery list, the person you married is still there, still wanting to be known, still wanting to be understood, still wanting to feel chosen. That's why I believe understanding each other isn't simply a nice marriage principle. I believe it's one of the strongest foundations of a lasting marriage. If we can learn to hear the fear beneath the words, the hope beneath the frustration, the loneliness beneath the silence, and the love that's sometimes hidden beneath responsibility, we have a much better chance of finding each other again. I'm Donna, and this is Still Standing with Donna. My mission is simple: to help husbands and wives understand each other so they can stay in sync through every season of marriage. Because after 34 years with Jake, I've learned one thing I know is true. This is a season, not a sentence.